So this one is also one of those great funnel damage dungeons where you can, you can get f***ed on the overall for AoE pad, but you can make a mad difference if you do it correctly. Like this pull, if you pull everything plus the bear is your lover. And you want to take care of it by elemental blasting it constantly and funneling in all that damage. If you're not lazy like me, you can pop a stun totem there. I did. I usually pop a stun totem and then I pop ancestral guidance here, usually depending on because during this you have the night claws and their bleeds. So if you have ancestral guidance running, you're doing, 500k DPS or more, you're gonna do some insane ancestral guidance healing, and you can help with all the bleeds, all the bursting and stuff like that. For some reason I didn't hear. I usually always do, but I didn't hear. For the ruiners, it's pretty much interrupt the despair to be able to move them depending on where you pull them. Sometimes you pull them with the pull like we did, or you pull them up to this Razor Beak and Poisoner pack. Another thing I forgot to mention on the previous pull is I run Poison Cleansing Totem here as well. For this one, the Nightmare Toxin that the Poisoners do. Because depending on what comp you have and what pulls you do, if two of them go out at the same time, the healer can usually not take care of it, and one DPS or one player might die if they don't have good throughput. So every now and then we can just help them with all of that. And we see we're jumping down to the next dungeon. Same thing here. We have Poisoners, Night Claws, and Ruiners trying to interrupt one of the far away ones to just stack them up. Usually pop a totem and ancestral guidance here as well. Ancestral guidance, again, both for the poison, but for the bleed dot from the Night Claws. I should have probably popped it later in the pull, to be honest, but fuck it. You can see there I did like 1.2 million healing with ancestral guidance. And again, Thunderstorm is great for, AoE interrupt on a lot of casts. Gotta work on the extend here for bursting to make your healer love you. There's the last one, and then I just heal myself. And pray and pray. Ooh, we lived. Easy life. You can probably see throughout the key, I'm gonna abuse, like I have Earth Shield up pretty much 70% of the dungeon. Like Earth Shield is my bait.
And my lover.
Here's one of those sketchy packs where you have two Poisoners. No, you can have two Poisoners depending on how you pull it. For the next one, we have the double bear pull. We do a skip here, but if you ever end up doing a double pull on these and killing them, you want to focus one down, lashing flame on both, so you tab target with at least one lava lash. And whenever the small adds spawn from them, you want to make sure to either spread flame shock if they're close, or you manually flame shock a couple of them, just for lava lash damage and for more resources and primordial wave. Here you have an insane AUG tech. If you put 3 people on a mount, the evoker can rescue you, if y'all didn't know. Boom. Rescue tech. For this boss, there's some really good funnel you can do. We are really good for this boss fight overall. So usually if you have the Forset and you primordial wave on pull, it will line up well. So yeah, I primordial wave on pull, get my lightning bolt out, get my elemental blast charges on cooldown, burst it down, and when the adds spawn, you want to flame shock one, usually the one far away, and then you can lava lash boss to spread to the one in the melee, and then instantly primordial wave, and you have 3 targets, so you get 28% haste. You get the adds down, and if they're close to boss, you can crash lightning to generate more maelstrom to funnel more elemental blast into the boss. I also usually, if I'm bad at the game, I usually get hit by the stun, or the charge, because I'm talking to chat, and then I die. But if you're not bad at the game, what you should do is, as soon as he's about to charge, you just take a step back from the boss, because sometime he can butt slap you from behind when he charges. You can be behind him, but you still get hit. So if you want to safe it, get him out. There's the adds again. I already primordial wave missed that. You can also, which I haven't done here, but you can, if one dies slow, just refresh flame shock on it. It's just more resources. And their ancestral guidance, not really sure why. That was a random one. I should have done it on the Grievous Leap to help heal it up. But I didn't. Imagine Enhance being top 5 DPS and have Blizzard get their balance patches out and nerf Demon Hunter, Rogue, and Hunter. That would be a shame. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this fight. Just make sure to use the adds. Flame Shock, Crash Lightning if they're in melee, and Primordial Wave, and always line it up. And it works great if you have the new Forset, which are the Dryads. So depending on how they pull, if they do the big pull here where you pull these 3 with the Keeper and the other Blossoms, my main target is Keeper. And this is another place where Enhancement excels. Because, you know, you can have boomkins and demon hunters do mad uncapped AoE on all the blossoms, but they're just gonna get healed constantly by the keeper. So any damage you do to blossom is 100% wasted. It does nothing. So that being said, spread flame shock, crash lightning, and funnel everything with elemental blast and lava lash into the keeper until it dies. As soon as it dies, you can swap to chain lightning if you want to. I usually stick with funneling and swap to the dryads to nuke them down. Also, the dryads have a poison spear, so poison cleansing totem when it goes out, at least one of them, or on yourself to make sure you don't die. I believe it's 25% healing reduction or some shit. For the root burst, one tip is thunderstorm knocks them up and instantly interrupts it. So if you have, you know, 4 blossoms, all of them casting root burst, and you don't want to run out, just press thunderstorm, they'll go up, stop their cast, and it's all good. Same thing if you stun or sundering or whatever. See there, I'm just blasting down that keeper to the point where I pull aggro. Gotta be blasting. And when I don't, I chain lightning. We have another keeper there, and it dies any minute now. I'm gonna get the primordial wave off. Yeah, we do. See there, I thunderstorm, knock him up, pray to God. There we die from a flower because the tank ate it. I just gotta double check, was it me or the tank? Was it me or the tank? That is not me. That is not me. That is not me eating it. Because the fear pack, you really want to make sure you have your interrupts or stuns or thunderstorms up, or tremor totem, which I hadn't spec'd in for this key because who cares about that? Who wants to do that? These are also extremely annoying when they're as spread as they are now to stack up, because you gotta have enough interrupts or AoE silences, or a goddamn Vengeance Demon Hunter can keep them silenced for, you know, 20 seconds in a row with the new tier bonus. But for this, it's not much more than you can either chain lightning to, you know, make sure they die evenly and just AoE pat them down. Otherwise, elemental blast down one of them to get fewer targets to interrupt faster. Depending on how your comp is. I usually swap between. If I see one has higher health, I might elemental blast it. For this boss, there's some pretty big funnel we can do if you game around it. Use primordial wave on pull if I have it ready, otherwise I save it for the roots, because when the roots go out, you want to be constantly putting up flame shock on them. They might not always spread from boss if they're in melee, so you have to manually apply it to get, you know, again, more lava lash damage, more lava lash cooldown, and more haste from primordial wave. So it sucks when people kill the roots or break the roots, like when druids play it properly, they run in, get rooted, then they shapeshift out of it, so you don't have to care about the ads. That's horrible for us. We just want all the roots up, all the ads up, because the roots alone, you can have, you know, you can get up to 5-6 flame shock targets, but then when the small ads spawn, you can also trigger crash lightning maelstrom generation. So yeah, just flame shock the roots. Here I believe the healer or druid is killing them or breaking them down. I'm not sure, but usually I have way more to funnel on. So yeah, now you can see we get the saplings. Then we have 4 sapling targets. Instantly get flame shock out on them, and then I just crash lightning, nuke boss, and I still flame shock, you know, the roots. Because the saplings will die eventually, so you know, you want some flame shocks up on the roots. But that's pretty much all I do. Like, when roots are up, you want to try and get flame shock up on them. When these small ads are up, crash lightning, funnel into boss, do mad damn. For the slimes, depending on how they pull, I usually try and get, you know, flame shocks up and all that jazz. And then I primordial wave the big ad, get 6 stacks, you know, 40% haste, and blast it down. And usually, depending on how everything lines up, but usually I have primordial wave ready for when it dies, so you can primordial wave the small ones as well. But my cooldowns were a bit offset on this pull, so it didn't work. For people who don't know, they have a cast called Blood Metamorphosis. There it is. If it goes off, they become big again and just become a big ad. You really don't want that. Pretty much same thing here, you know, I spread on the slimes and I try and get it into the Fury if they pull it. Some tanks skip this pack by just running back or running past it, since it patrols back and forth between the gates. So for this, depending on how ballsy you are or how ballsy your tank is, pull more whelps. for Primordial Wave and Crash Lightning Pad. Usually with the new 4 set it lines up so you get Primordial Wave up during the downdraft, so tank, if they're helping you, can run out during the downdraft, get a couple of Whelplings, and then you spread Flame Shock and go to town. One word of edgewise is the spread from Lava Lash can be a bit weird, so if you just Lava Lash boss, it's not at all certain that you will spread Flame Shock to the Whelpling, so it's better to Flame Shock one of them and then Lava Lash it to be sure that you hit or that you spread it, because it won't spread from boss a lot of the time. Same thing with Crash Lightning, like you have to go up to the face of the boss, Crash Lightning the ads to get any value out of it. But if you play around it, you can do really good boss dam just from it. If you're done with this dungeon, can you show an Atal Desar run? I can do that after. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the boss. There's not much more. One thing I do look out for is the earth-shaking roar. Goes off in a couple seconds. You want to have full, at least on a Tyrannical 20, you want to have full health before it goes off, or you might die. So either you can pop Earth Ellie to survive it, or you can do that and run into... I think I killed myself here. I want to remember that I do in this run. Could be another key. But you can also pop a defensive before Earth-Shaking Roar, or just heal yourself. Is this where I kill myself? I believe it is, because I get ballsy and I'm gonna run into the eggs. And the eggs deal damage when you break them. And at the exact same time, Earth-Shaking Roar goes off. Yeah, I think it's here. Look. Don't do that. Let's go back. Look here. Look at here. I'm feeling ballsy here. I'm not tracking the timer at all. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be good. Run into the eggs, and you can see this little bad boy ticket. Exactly correct time. Look at that. One heal? I die real fast. So yeah, don't do that. So this are the packs I hate in this dungeon. But the main thing you want to focus on ideally is the Summoner's Curse and the Imp's Dread Inferno. So it's Curse of Isolation from the Summoner, I believe, and it's Dread Inferno from the Imps. If you play, you can play Decurse or Cleansing Spirit or whatever it's called, so you can Decurse for this pull alone, because if you miss one of the Curse of Isolation interrupts, you can just Decurse it or yourself. Which is really good. But otherwise, Dread Inferno, if you do get Dread Inferno on you, pop a defensive and run the fuck out. Those are sketchy. And if you have interrupts to spare, it's Shadow Bolt, things like that you want to nuke down. Use your stuns, use your Thunderstorm. For the Bloodseeker, it really depends on the tank. I usually stun and knock him up depending on. Because they apply a disease to the tank, and that disease does a lot of damage, so tanks should always kite this pack unless they can get cleansed by the healer. But they also heal when they hit the tank with this, so that's when you can knock up and you can use stuns and shit so they don't hit the tank and heal. If you want to help the tank out a bit, you can Ancestral Guidance as well. Otherwise I Ancestral Guidance this pack because it usually hurts a lot. Same thing here, Dread Inferno, Curse of Isolation. Otherwise, just make sure to get Flame Shock up and everything. These can be a bit sketchy if you miss interrupts, but we have pretty good interrupts here with Solar Beam and everything. For the last boss, there isn't really any hidden enhancement tech. I mean, you could run, if you run Tremor Totem, you can skip one Paranoia every now and then, but that's about it. Like on pole, there I had Maelstrom, then I always open just with an Elemental Blast to charge it, then I go into Primordial Wave Wolfies and just nuke down. But overall, it's the same old regardless of what class you play here. You get Nightmare Bolt, you stack on someone so you don't get silenced. Get Growing Paranoia or whatever it's called, you move out and max range behind boss. On Feed on the Weak on Tyrannical hurts a lot, so when you get targeted, be prepared to either Healing Surge yourself, depending on how good your healer is, or pop a defensive or Earth Alley. But usually it's enough if you waste some Maelstrom and just throw a Healing Surge on yourself and you'll survive it. Otherwise, we just push to 50%. When you get to 50%, that's when shit gets fun. Depending on how high key it is and your health, if you aren't topped before this, pop a cooldown. Like if you go up to 22 plus, it's gonna slap even harder. Then for the rest of the fights, it's just stutter step around, pray that you don't get hit by the circles pretty much. I always just insta run. If a swirl spawns under me, I instantly move. I don't try and get anything off because they're quite fast. I mean, you have time to run out But if you ever fail it, you're just gonna instantly die if you get hit by one. So just play it safe, run out. That's pretty much it for this key.